Hello, Patreon. I'm back here again. And hello, YouTube. Obviously, Patreon's going to see this first. You guys already know. Hashtag Patreon saw it first. I'm coming at you, real natural, real calm in my morning state. Just to have some coffee with you, just to share some coffee with you. So, you know how I like to keep it real on this platform. Sometimes I'm out here with makeup and frills, but most of the time I keep it real. And I'm glowing and shining today as I am most days, if not every day. Probably every day. Let's just keep it real. We're all out here doing our thing every day. So I'm coming at you natural, just woke up, scarf on, coffee in my mug. Let's talk, because I haven't posted on here in a long time. A lot of life has been happening. I just released a new photo dump. If you look in the post and you actually swipe through, you can see a big collage of pictures. Basically, I wanted to talk about a few things, and I wanted to give you guys some updates because I'm working on some amazing ventures and some amazing projects, and I've been waiting for the exact right time to share what I need to share with you all. But until then, in the meantime, I can give you a few updates. So, I wanted to say this as an actor. Part of doing this work and part of really being a part of that world is actually catering to all aspects of yourself and all aspects of your life. Because I'm going to say this. There's a lot of people in the industry that I look up to and I like what they say, and I listen to how they interview, and I listen to their quotes and how they talk and how they talk about life, not just their work. And then there's some people in the industry where I'm like, I see them fall off the handle because maybe they weren't taking the same advice. And Jennifer Gardner once said, you have to have a life outside of acting. You cannot neglect the world outside of your job. And that's with any job. That's with any career. If you work in an office, there's a lot you do in order to be the best you can in that office. Let's say you work in corporate America, a white collar job where you have to wear a suit and go to an office. When you come home, you still have to take care of your home and your household. You still have to stay clean and eat and rested, and your life is more than your work. And if anything, by catering to these things, you become better at your work, because holistically, all together as a person, as an individual, you've gotten some things taken care of. You have no holes, no cracks in the foundation, So yes, I'm someone who acts. I'm still a spiritual practitioner. I just had a client a few weeks ago, a brand new client, and it was an amazing experience. So I still do that work, and I still have a sale at 75% off. It's $15 readings that were originally $60. And I tell you, the quality has not changed. The service has not changed. The setup is exactly the same. The only thing that's different is the price that I am charging, which is extremely low compared to the original, because I want my services to be accessible to those who truly need them. So I have that business, and I have my acting, and then I'm also stepping in two essential jobs. One, I'm working in retail and in grocery to help provide goods to the community. I'm also delivering with a separate service. It's a mobile app service, Uber Eats. So I've got Target, Uber Eats, acting, and I still do my spiritual work, So I've got 4 jobs in a dream, honey. And that's why I posted that picture. I want you guys to know that if you're someone who is an artist, or if you're someone who's a teacher or a minister, because a lot of teachers take summer jobs, like teachers at schools, teachers at high schools and colleges, believe it or not. So just know it doesn't make you any less of who you are. It doesn't make you any less aligned with your purpose. If anything, it makes you more committed to that path, because now you're committing to making sure that you can still have space and time for that in your life. And you're committing to making sure that nothing slips at the hand of you trying to accomplish certain goals. So while you're watering one seed, you're not neglecting the other seed. Now, moving on from that, I just wanted to get that out of the way because I talk about acting on here a lot. I've also been auditioning and working on a project I'm very, very excited about, based off of a book. And I want to show you the book, but it's right here on the table. I'm waiting to the right moment. Maybe I can show you the book, but I'm working on this project. It's based off a book. I have the book right here. by Lawrence Otis Graham. It's very exciting. It's called Our Kind of People, and I want to share my audition at the appropriate time. Right now, I don't know if it's appropriate to share with you guys because of a bunch of NDA and legal stuff, and I just want to be respectful. And I'm here to tell you this. I always talk about progress over perfection, and here you see some of my not so amazing self-tapes, and I've showed you some self-tapes I actually really love. I've shown you both. And this past self-tape and callback, I really love the tapes. There is such a difference between the 6 months. I've been keeping track for years, but I've especially been keeping track in the last 6 months. And I noticed my growth, and I love that we get to do this journey together, and I get to show you that it is a process and that you can actually see yourself grow. That's the power of taking pictures and videos. You can see the progress. You can keep tracking. You can look back and say, oh, wait a minute, I did come a mighty long way. God has brought me from a mighty long way, for y'all who read the Bible or who recognize that quote. So that's really exciting. I'm looking forward to sharing more about that with you all. But just know I have been on my stuff. I've been on my stuff every day. So I just wanted to get the business stuff out of the way. I know I spent a good chunk of time talking about that. On the other hand, I want to talk about some spiritual stuff because a lot of y'all come to my Patreon and to my YouTube ready to get to the meat of the matter, which is the spiritual stuff. The spiritual stuff. Beware of the snakes. I did post something on my Instagram story about it. Words, beware of the snakes. When I say this, beware of naysaying, worry, doubt, and fear. Things that poison your potion. Things that poison your manifestation. There are a lot of people in this world, and then there are a few people in this world that you love and that are close to you, correct? And there are people who mean you no harm. They're not doing nothing outright going out of their way to do you harm, but they also don't mean you any good. Just because someone doesn't mean you harm doesn't necessarily mean that they mean you well. So just beware of that on your journey. A lot of people are in different places in their spiritual journey, and I'll advocate for pen to paper every single time. When you manifest something, put it in your journal, write your love letter to God, write it to whoever, write it to yourself, and keep that for yourself. There's some people who aren't worthy of your good news. The Bible says don't cast your pearls among swine. If you need a reference, I know a lot of people love Bible references. That's why I do give you a Bible reference. But I'm here to tell you today, you do not have to lace your dreams with logic in order to make them true, in order to make them believable and accomplishable. There's so much more that is possible than you realize right now. So if you're encountering a group of people, or even if that person is yourself, even if that naysayer is yourself, check that and be aware of that, because sometimes we look at something through a tiny little hole and we think it's that big, but really it's so much bigger than we can ever imagine. So that's kind of my collective conscious message, because I realize that's not just a message for me, that's a message for everybody right now, because a lot of us are going through major transitions in an amazing way. I'm so excited. A lot has changed for me in the last, it's 2021, 2018 to 2021. How many years is that? 3 years? In the last 3 years, amazing things have changed for me. And I've seen it change consistently, like a month at a time, a day at a time, a year at a time. Every year I'm in a different place, and I go higher and higher and higher in my life. And my life becomes more so exactly the life of my dreams, and savor every last drop. So I think what I'm really just trying to say to you guys is, if you have a dream, know how possible that is, know how achievable it is. And if you know that, if you're trying to figure out the how is it going to happen, you're trying to force it to happen, take a step back and understand that it's already in the process. And every day that you get up and you do the work and you put those efforts in. Like every day I get up, I go to work. Every day I make sure I journal. Every day I read some of my research material for my art. I'm watering my whole garden every day. I don't just water the one seed. I don't just worry over the one seed. So if you are doing that, then your stuff is growing. When you plant, I'm using the gardening analogy as I usually do because it's very easy to understand, and it's very true. Your life is like that. You have all these little seeds you plant, and you have to take care of all of them. And then you have to be patient and understanding and trusting. Trust the timing, trust the process, because everything happens exactly when it's meant to. There are crops that you harvest in the spring, and there are crops you harvest in the fall. And they're going to be different crops each time. It doesn't mean that certain seeds aren't growing. It means that, oh, it's not harvest time yet. Like you pick apples in the fall, and you might pick daisies in the spring, for example. So just keep that in mind. And in the meantime, don't let any little rat or snake or something rattle through the grass and make you doubt all that you have done to make that space, to make that moment in your life beautiful and magical. I wish you all love, and I wish you all strength during this time, and I hope you're all taking care of yourself. It is Cancer season, so a lot of us are getting into a place of self-care and taking care of our home and our household needs and reassessing what we need in our home life. So I hope you guys have had a chance to do that. Now is a great season to do that. And I just wanted to give you guys an update because I do have new content for you. I've just been sitting on it and waiting for the exact right time to give it to you, and I'm very excited to give it to you. Until then, take care. Bless.